Welcome to The Explainer. Have you ever felt like you're just spinning your wheels, trying so hard to build a good habit or break a bad one, and nothing seems to stick? Well, you are not alone. Today, we're going to dig into James Clear's fantastic book, Atomic Habits, and uncover how incredibly tiny changes can lead to some seriously remarkable results.
Let's kick things off with this quote, because it really gets to the heart of the whole idea. It's all about those small, consistent efforts that feel like they're doing absolutely nothing until one day they do everything. That final crack in the rock, that wasn't just one hit, it was the 100 that came before it.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to talk about the surprising magic of just getting 1% better. Then, we'll get into why you should maybe forget your goals. Yep, you heard that right. After that, we'll peek behind the curtain to see how habits are actually wired into our brains. Then, we get to the really practical stuff, the 4 laws of change, and we'll wrap it all up by connecting these habits to who you really want to become.
So, let's get right into it. Why is it so ridiculously hard to make a change stick? A lot of the time, it's because we have the wrong idea of what progress even looks like. We expect it to be this nice, steady, linear climb. But reality? Nah, it's not like that at all. The book uses this perfect analogy. Just picture an ice cube sitting in a cold room. It's 28 degrees. It is, solid ice.
Now, you start putting in the work. You start warming the room up to 30 degrees, still ice. Then 31 degrees, still just a block of ice. And this is the part that's so frustrating, right? You're making an effort, but you are seeing absolutely zero results. It feels totally pointless.
But then you hit 32 degrees, and that one tiny degree shift unlocks a massive fundamental change. Suddenly, it starts to melt. See, all that work, all those earlier degrees, none of it was wasted. It was just storing up potential, waiting for that breakthrough moment.
This is what James Clear calls the plateau of latent potential. I love that phrase. It's that valley of disappointment where you're putting in the work day after day and it feels like nothing is happening. And honestly, this is the point where most of us give up, usually right before the magic is about to happen.
So the big question is, how do you push through that plateau? Well, it takes a really fundamental shift in how we think. It turns out, we've probably been focusing on the wrong thing this whole time.
Just think about it. We are obsessed with goals. I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to win the championship. But here's the thing. Winners and losers, they often have the exact same goals. The goal isn't what separates them. So what does? It's their systems. It's the daily process, the collection of habits that actually leads to the results. And this is where it gets really powerful. The book takes this idea even deeper. The most effective kind of change isn't about the outcome you want. It's about the identity you want to have. So instead of an outcome like, I want to be skinny, you focus on an identity, I am a healthy person. And once you start to believe that, your actions just naturally begin to fall in line.
Okay, so how does this actually happen in our brains? How do we form these habits that end up shaping who we are? Well, it's not some kind of magic. It's a surprisingly simple and predictable loop that our brain is running on autopilot all day, every single day.
Every single habit you have, good or bad, follows these 4 steps. First, there's a cue, a trigger. That leads to a craving. The craving motivates a response. That's the actual habit. And finally, you get a reward, which satisfies the craving. Cue, craving, response, reward. That's the engine of all human behavior.
And here's the cool part. Once you understand that loop, you can start to play with it. You can actually engineer it to work for you instead of against you. And this brings us to the 4 laws of change. This is your practical, step-by-step toolkit for building good habits and, just as importantly, breaking bad ones.
So, law number 1, make it obvious. Your brain is constantly scanning your environment for triggers. So if you want to start a new good habit, you have to make the cue for it basically impossible to miss. The more obvious it is, the more likely you are to actually do it.
There are 2 great ways to do this. First, there's habit stacking. That's where you piggyback a new habit on top of one you already have. For example, after I pour my morning coffee, I will meditate for 1 minute. The other is just simple environment design. You want to eat more apples? Stop hiding them in the fridge and put a big bowl of them right on the kitchen counter where you can't ignore them.
All right, law number 2 is to make it attractive. It's not enough for something to be obvious. You actually have to want to do it. The more appealing and attractive a habit is, the more your brain gets that little hit of dopamine that makes you say, ooh yeah, let's do that again.
A fantastic way to do this is with temptation bundling. The book tells this great story about an engineering student who literally hacked his bike to only play Netflix if he was cycling at a certain speed. He bundled what he needed to do, exercise, with what he wanted to do, watch TV. It's brilliant.
Next up, we have law number 3, make it easy. Let's be real, we're all wired to follow the path of least resistance. Our brains want to conserve energy, which means we will almost always choose the easiest option. So the easier you can make a good habit, the more likely you are to actually follow through. And the key strategy here is the 2-minute rule. Whatever habit you want to build, scale it down so that it takes less than 2 minutes to do. So read before bed every night becomes read 1 page. The goal to run a marathon starts with put on my running shoes. Just master the art of showing up. The rest will follow.
And that brings us to the 4th and final law, make it satisfying. Here's the deal with our brains. They are wired for immediate gratification. If a habit doesn't feel good right away, we have very little incentive to repeat it in the future. The reward needs to be immediate.
This is exactly why something as simple as a habit tracker works so well. That little act of putting an X on a calendar each day, it feels good. It's an immediate reward. You get to see a visual of your progress, and it makes you not want to break the chain. The golden rule here is simple. Never miss twice.
So when you put this all together, the habit loop, the plateau, the 4 laws, it all comes back to the single most important idea in this book. Habits aren't just about the results you get, they are about the person you become.
Think about it this way. Every single tiny action you take is like casting a vote for the type of person you want to be. Going to the gym once won't transform your body, of course not. But what it does do is cast a vote for I am the type of person who doesn't miss workouts. And over time, those votes add up and build the evidence for your new identity.
Because in the end, the goal is not to read a book. The goal is to become a reader. The goal is not to run a marathon, is to become a runner. True, lasting change is identity change. So the real question the book leaves us with is a powerful one. Who do you wish to become? And what tiny vote can you cast for that person today?